Hi guys, welcome back to day 3 of the Craftopia, Camp Craftopia takeover. Your camp counselor Lori for today, and today our prompt is in flight. So I went through my stash, and I of course have that paper pad that I talked about in the first or second, I think the second day from Stamperia, and it's called Time. And I figured maybe today we would make a stuffed pocket. That was my thought. So basically I pulled a paper bag out of my stash that I had actually received some things in that I had purchased. Some printables that I had lying around. Here is a glassine bag. Some printables that I use part of. I'm going to repurpose this craft paper envelope. These are some papers that I think I had received in one of my Your Creative Studios boxes a while ago. I did some fussy cutting of some different printables I had from Victoria Designs. Some of the things I got off of Pinterest, and I happen to know that this one is from Dreams etc. Now, I don't know if I'm going to use all this stuff. I just got out what I thought I might use. I have this really cool cork paper. I think I got it from Michael's. It's self-adhesive. It was a full 12 by 12 sheet. This is what I have left. I found this completely adorable little paper bag in my stash. I don't know where it came from. I think somebody sent it to me, but it's so stinking cute. I'm going to try and use that. And of course I'm going to use some tags. And this is some paper I just found in my stash, but I thought the way that the numbers and letters were looked kind of steampunkish to me, so maybe we'll use that. I think the first thing I'm going to do is build out my pocket with the envelopes, but I'm not in love in particular with this print, though it does look steampunky. It does look, you know, Victorian. I think I'm going to add some paper because it's also kind of flimsy, which is not my cup of tea, as it were. It's because I tend to overstuff my overstuffed pockets. So kind of like this. I like both sides of this, so I'm going to get several pieces out of this. This pocket is 6 1/4, and the front is 8 3/4. Okay, kind of like that. And then if I put a piece on the back, it'll make it more sturdy too. I really want to cover a ton of this up. So my bottom pocket is going to be probably 3 1/4 or 3 inches tall. So maybe, let's see how much of this I want to cover. I'll cut this at 4 1/2. Well, that's not bad. It's approximately the right width too. I just have to cut it down to about 4, maybe, like 4 1/4. Bigger. Oh, perfecto. Okay, let's cut this down to about where the envelope ends, which is, well, let's make it 3. Okay, is going to go this way. Maybe this. I do like that saying there's only one thing more precious than our time, and that's who you spend it on. Perfect. All right, let's glue some stuff down. Now I really like this paper because it's got like some heft to it. At any rate, let me place this down. I'll use this for the back. Place it there. And if you glue the backpack, you'll have a little gusset too. So I think that's what I'm going to do, is just glue the very back down. Place this on the pocket for some decorative accent. And I could actually do the same with this. Just glue along the perimeter. Very nice. Let's decorate a little. So I'm going to pull out some of the items that I fussy cut. Oh, I like that. That definitely looks like in flight. Airship. Let's glue that down. But I do have a Pinterest board. It's under my name, Lori Yuba, and I do have a lot of these things pinned. So just an FYI if you want to know how to find some cool stuff. It's too long. I'm gonna have to cut this off. See if I can find some trims to use that might zhuzh it up a little bit. Okay guys, since our prompt is in flight, voiceover Lori here, I'm going to tell you about how Edgar Allan Poe perpetrated the first steampunk hoax. Edgar Allan Poe is often portrayed in popular culture as tortured, a dark figure, but in pulling off a string of hoaxes in print, he displayed a mischievous, prankish sense of humor. While Poe wrote several stories in a plausible vein, the best and most famous is The Balloon Hoax, published in the New York Sun as a newspaper article in April 13, 1844. It described a then improbable balloon voyage across the Atlantic completed in 75 hours. The hoax was printed at the zenith of public ballooning enthusiasm. The balloon had become so popular, it became a firmly established part of popular culture, and was incorporated into such things as vaudeville performances, and touted as the alternative means for Arctic exploration. However, the transatlantic flight still remained out of reach, and when the public heard of the Sun's claim, everyone clamored for a newspaper, buying out the afternoon edition, as well as 50,000 copies of a special issue. The story garnered 30,000 more readers than the Sun's previous hoax, Richard A. Lockhart's 1835 The Great Moon Hoax. In feigning authenticity, Poe's used characters named after real members of the ballooning community. He based his protagonist, Monk Mason, on Thomas Monk Mason, who wrote several accounts of his ballooning excursions across England. Poe presented the majority of the story as dispatches taken from Mason's journals and dated them the week before the Sun went to press. The dispatches were saturated with speculations so accurate that the first transatlantic balloon voyage, exactly a century later, recorded almost the same number of hours and many of the incidents in the mock log. The log included atmospheric changes and geographical descriptions and promised more observations for the New York Sun after recovering from landing. In the end, neither Poe nor the editors could keep up the hoax, and the New York Sun retracted the story on April 15th. Oh, untrue, Poe's fiction did heavily influence H.G. Wells and Jules Verne's interest in technology. His fiction doesn't seem to have the same proto-steampunk spark, perhaps because the author did not live to see all the changes created by the Industrial Revolution. Let's talk a bit about Jules Verne. Jules Verne was born in France, where his memory lingers in the form of a famous exhibit of mechanical animals based on his creations and the whimsical Jules Verne Museum. He began his adult life studying law, only to have his father cut his funding when he found out his son still dabbled in playwriting, until he published his first novel, 5 Weeks in a Balloon, which was heavily influenced by Poe's The Balloon Hoax. Okay, so this is the front. There's a pocket here with a gusset. There's a pocket here. This has 2 sections in it. Of course, the top is a pocket. And then there's a pocket here. There's a pocket behind the lace. So I feel like you could really stuff this with some cool stuff and send somebody a little gift. I'm going to make some tags. Let's do that together. And add that to it. You could place some of the things you made in our previous ideas with the molds and the metallic paste. Put them in some little plastic bags and include them with like maybe a bag topper. That would be super cute. Okay, I think the first thing I'm going to do is make a big tag to go in this portion of the bag. This is the cork paper. I said that I had gotten this at Michael's, I believe. Okay, so I think the first thing I'm going to do is cut this into a tag shape. Flip this to the other. Okay, and then I think I'm just going to adhere this down to some regular plain old cardstock before I decide the decorative elements on this, because that way it will have a back on it that you can write on. It's a nice texture, and let's see how we can steampunk this up now. Okay guys, so I took that piece of paper and I got out my Big Shot and I ran it through with this Tim Holtz Alterations embossing folder by Sizzix, and I think I'm going to take some of that metallic wax and just lightly put some metallic wax on here. Let's see how lightly is. Metallic wax brings out the detail and everything's so amazing. Again, this is silver rub and buff. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it at most jewelry supply places. I think Michael's might even have it. I also feel like a variation in the depth of the silver, like using more in some spots than other, really makes it look weathered and kind of like real metal to me. So I think I'm going to use this for the background for some of my tags. And I'm going to clean my hands off. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Let's talk about H.G. Wells now. By contrast, Herbert George Wells was born in Kent, England, to shopkeepers. He was an intellectual, curious child and received a scholarship to the Normal School of Science in London, where he studied biology. He was awakened to social and political issues that would inform his work. While Wells excelled in the most of his studies, he failed a geology class, forcing him to drop out of the program and pursue freelance writing while scraping by as a teacher. Wells' first success was The Time Machine in 1895, a novel that captured the public's imagination and secured his career. The works that followed serve as some of the foundations of modern science fiction, including The Invisible Man in 1897, The War of the Worlds in 1898, and The Island of Dr. Moreau in 1896. All of his fictions depend upon scientific authenticity and imaginative technology, but with themes that follow a clear socio-political agenda, unlike the works of his literary compatriot Verne. When writing and describing his inventions, he mingles scientific jargon and facts in his storytelling to make them sound authentic. Wells was interested in creating suspension of disbelief, not highly detailed realism. While enthusiasts can try and replicate the internal and external mechanics of Nemo's Nautilus by closely reading the text, the explanations of the Time Machine and the Martian's tripods, along with their chemical ray guns, are not described so specifically that they can be recreated in the real world. Wells viewed his story as fantasy, and his machines as art, not artifacts. In a sense, modern steampunk creators who often blur the lines between the maker and artist are the same. It was Wells' preoccupation with the social question, not just otherworldly gadgets, that informed certain aspects of the steampunk culture, such as the Green Movement. So I think I'm just going to create a couple more tags and cut the other tags out of the paper pad. Put them in the pocket just to show you, briefly what it could look like. And then I think we'll be done. So I'll be back. Okay guys, so I'm done. And this is what it looks like. And let me show you just a couple examples of what I made to put in the pockets. I took one of the insects that we had made earlier in the week, and I put some paper on the back for journaling. Of course, it's going to be a little bumpy. You could journal and then just glue it on yourself. There's also a steampunk balloon behind here. I did a little bit of texture paste and some trims on that one. This was that cute little paper bag that I had showed you. I just used some of the paper. We ran through the embossing folder and put the silver on. Used one of the numbers from our sheets and glued some gears to it. Cute in there. And then this is one of the tags from the paper that I was using. I just cut one of those out. And of course, here's the tag that we made together. And then on the back, I just cut this out of the paper pack. That's flat, so it can go in here. And then because this had so much dimension, I wanted to use the room for the gusset. I made this with some printouts that I had. And then with the gears that we made the first day of camp together, I just made this journaling card. So that is my day 3 with my in flight as my prompt, and hope you enjoyed Camp Steampunk for the day. I hope you're having a great week. Alright, so I'll say bye-bye for now. And the prompt was in flight. There were many things here that were in flight. We had the wings, we had the balloons. Still with the steampunk theme. Be kind to one another. Have a great week. Hope everything's going spectacular for you guys. I love you.